At some point, Lucille and Nikki head out to Morris Brown. And while they getting oriented with the campus, walking on the yard and such, Lucille meets an AKA, a member of the prestigious Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority incorporated, and they hit it off perfect. They had this lady, this AKA, representing that old school negative AKA stereotype, arrogant. Some might say uppity, like had her quick to get a little snippy. Now, I can tell you the ones I know, they didn't move like that. Don't get it wrong, it was still a serious goddamn matter. But they wasn't how this lady was being represented. But anyway, that's the show. It was friendly at first. Lady gives Lucille a free book, And they get a little rap about Maya Angelou and Toni Morrison, who, as pointed out by the lady, also happen to be AKAs. Then she asked Lucille if she pledged a sorority. Lucille yeah, told the lady she always thought that sororities were too cliquish for her. Now, I probably wouldn't have told somebody who I thought was part of a clique that they were part of said clique, But that's just me. And I'm not Lucille. And I also wouldn't have responded the way this AKA did, like we all grown here. And everything ain't for everybody, and we would just leave it at that. But that's not how this conversation went down. Because this is a goddamn show. And she calls Lucille an outsider. Said that's what all outsiders would think, that the fraternities and sororities are cliquish. And the conversation goes 85 south from there. And after some back and forth, Lucille storms the hell off, packs up Nikki, peace the hell up out of there, gets back home to a goddamn fur coat from Meech. That was like full mountain bear. Like Mr. Ranger got tired of Yogi and Boo Boo skin them bitch clean. Now this coat, Lucille Mickey D's loving it. But struggling with the whole I must struggle because I'm a servant of the Lord mindset, Make no mistake, she took the damn coat. That coat went back home to the D. And at some point, the Flenorys make their way to the church, to get that church wrap. Lord, this church got valet parking. ATMs with Brinks trucks backing up to them, taking money out from the services prior. Goddamn church also had a cut rate liquor store across the street and a bail bond spot. What the f***? Like this church was ghetto fabulous and all of that. Don't hate on us, we're fabulous. Charge that to the game. Yo, the church was ghetto fabulous. Don't hate. They seeing strippers from church up in that piece and all of that, Like you might be a heathen from Monday to Saturday. But Sunday is the day of the Lord, praise God. And all shall praise his name in good goddamn accord, okay? And they get up in the spot, meet Laz and his grandma. Then a cat looking like Andre 3000 and Big Boy rolled up into one. Goddamn Big Dre 2500. Goddamn Big Dre 4500. Come and usher them to their seats. Like Lil Player's perm was hella proper. But I ain't like the way he moved, you know. I like the way you move. Because after he seated him, as ushers are supposed to do, no tip. This cat had his hand out, looking for a tip. He like, pastor preaching that day was the homie Mr. Clifton Powell. I liked him as a preacher, had me wanting to go to church. When my man left the pulpit and walked down the main church aisle, walked down Jesus's red carpet, they was throwing that money, wasn't they? Had two sisters in back of his ass with a goddamn broom and bill catcher, sweeping up Jacksons. I ain't talking LaToya and goddamn Tito, okay? They wasn't missing a goddamn cent. If a penny was thrown today, they was catching it. After the ceremony, Lucille goes over, has a little chat with the pastor. Preacher to preacher, pastor to pastor, whoever. Lord servant to Lord servant. And they get a little rap about differences in regard to riches and how preachers should preach to their congregations, And he tell her the way he do attracts more folks. He like, I live, love, preach and praise Jesus. But ain't nothing wrong with a little peace, prosperity, and a little paper, Told her God don't dim the light of his stars, those that preach his message, Told Lucille that in fact, the stars guide the way, and he don't dim that light. And he peace up out of there, to get ready for the next service. And while that's happening, Nikki takes Meech to task about how he got her hemmed up. This the first time they seen each other since she got caught up in that Honda. A little friendly, lighthearted, but serious chat between siblings. And at some point they all pieced the hell up out of there.